What's up guys, I hold here in my hands a new keyboard from Corsair. It is the K60 RGB Pro Special Edition, and it is the first keyboard to ever rock Cherry's new Viola switches. At $100, this thing is packed with tons of features and fantastic RGB lighting. However, like most budget products, there are a few compromises. So, without further ado, let's dive in. If this is your first mechanical keyboard, then the K60 does have a lot of features going for it, like individual per key RGB lighting, full in-key rollover, 100% anti-ghosting, PBT double shot keycaps, and 1000 Hz hyperpolling, just to name a few. I think that those who are brand new to mechanical switch products will probably like the K60. It's targeted at gaming enthusiasts on a budget that wants a mechanical keyboard that has most of the bells and whistles found in flagship keyboards like the K100, but at less than half the price. And while I am personally not a fan of the Viola switches, more on those later, the thing is, Corsair doesn't have any control over the switches themselves, just the form factor that they live in. And in that regard, I think Corsair has done an outstanding job on the K60. This is a beautiful minimalist keyboard with a lot of RGB that looks absolutely stunning. It's just that these linear switches feel like nothing I have ever used before and leave a lot to be desired for longtime mechanical keyboard owners such as myself. For a linear switch, there is more resistance on these keys than I ever expected, and the listed 45 grams of actuation force seems generous at best since there is a non-linear exponential curve to the resistance as you press these keys inward. What do I mean by that? It means the further down you press the key, the more resistance you are going to encounter, to the point that if you tend to bottom out your keys when typing, then this keyboard will be a bit of a workout for your fingers. So if you are an experienced mechanical keyboard user looking to replace a keyboard that may have died on you, and you're thinking of giving the K60 a spin, I'd recommend that you pick up the K60 variant that uses the MX Speed low profile switches for just $10 more. But that means you are stuck with ABS plastic keycaps, which are also low profile, and no wrist pad. It's also worth mentioning that for less than $100, you also gain access to all of the features and irritations that Corsair's iCUE software brings with it, which can be used on both PC and Mac. Using iCUE, you may completely customize the RGB lighting of this board, create and execute macros, and lock certain keys from being pressed, like Alt F4 and the Windows key. But on the K60, these features are buried behind custom shortcuts that you must memorize, and the same is true for all 7 media controls. Before I dive into the Viola switches themselves, I'm going to lay down what I think are some of the pros and cons of the K60. The pros of this keyboard are Viola switches allow for beautiful per key RGB lighting, full in-key rollover and anti-ghosting, 1000 Hz hyperpolling, 1.5mm thick PBT double shot keycaps, minimalistic frame design that looks sleek, lubed stabilizer bars, standard bottom row, and a plushy wrist pad. The cons, however, are that the plunger design of the Viola switches create too much resistance when keys are pressed at an angle. The audible twings when typing and hitting the spacebar kind of echo throughout the metal frame. And the media shortcut keys require memorizing, and there's about 7 of them, so good luck. All right, let's talk about these new Viola switches, how they work, and my thoughts on them after using them for a few weeks. Viola is a new plunger-style mechanical switch from Cherry, the first of its kind, and the idea here was to reduce mechanical components from just 8 parts down to 4, in theory making them a more affordable switch. But let's not beat around the bush here. Plunger design switches are found in lots of rubber dome style keyboards. The only difference here is that these are mechanical and should outlast the rubber insides of rubber dome keyboards, since the Violas are entirely made of plastic. While the plunger design is simpler, more sturdy, and illuminates key wobble, it kind of feels like typing on a rubber dome keyboard with its non-linear resistance curve that is especially noticeable when bottoming out. That said, the Viola switches do provide excellent RGB lighting, since the plastic used in the plunger design catches those photons from the LEDs and disperses them for a beautiful glow. However, a side effect of plungers is that if you don't sometimes have the cleanest vertical key presses, then you may think you pressed the key but it didn't register. I've had moments where I had to repress a key to register a keystroke because I thought I pressed the key, but it was likely at a slight angle and I didn't press directly down on it, so it didn't register. I'm guessing this happens due to the combined friction and resistance from the walls of the plunger style switches rubbing up against the key itself. So if you're playing a game and get in a frenzied firefight or something, you may find yourself mashing buttons to assure yourself that they were pressed, since there is no tactile feedback here. Knowing that can be haunting in critical gaming moments where you have to essentially bang the keys that you intend to hit, which is completely opposite of any linear switch that I have ever experienced, and frankly that is something that experienced mechanical keyboard users will not like. Since the Viola switches dish out so much resistance, this could be an issue for general gaming. If you're holding shift to sprint for extended periods of time or crouching to sneak up on your enemies, depending on the game that you play, that can be excruciating to maintain for even short periods of time. But like I've mentioned before, the K60 will come in Cherry MX Speed low profile switches if you feel like skipping Viola altogether. Yeah, so I was very conflicted making this video on the K60. This joint effort between Corsair and Cherry to create a beautiful keyboard that was easy on the wallet falls a bit flat on the most crucial category for me, the typing experience. On the one hand, it's a very well-crafted keyboard thanks to Corsair's latest pursuit of world domination of the PC market. On the other hand, well, the Viola switches are a bit of a dud in my personal opinion, and the Viola switches being what they are is completely out of Corsair's hands. As a longtime mechanical keyboard user myself, I found the overall typing experience on Viola switches to be rather disappointing. With 4 total SKUs dedicated to the K60, I would have liked to see Corsair embrace the top shelf K60 more and offer top-end special editions for both switches. But like, I get it, Corsair is trying to provide a lot of value to the consumer with the double shot keycaps and palm rest for $100. Which, I mean, the double shot keycaps alone are worth about $50, so yeah. When it comes to the K60, I think people will love the RGB colors and the functionality, but I think when it comes to Viola, people will just be a bit disappointed. Anyways, that'll do it for me. Now I want to hear from you guys. Have you had the opportunity to try those Viola switches? If you have, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of them. Maybe I'm just crazy and I just am a strange person when it comes to mechanical switches. I don't know, but I want to hear from you guys either way. So let me know down in the comments. I'll be hanging out trying to answer any questions you guys might have and definitely reading your guys' feedback on what you think about the Viola switches. Until next time, I'll catch you later.